Don't mind me today. I'm unsure. See, I don't know whether to grow a beard or not. I don't know. I'm unsure. As a matter of fact, I'm so unsure. I had to find out what that word meant. Let's see. Unsure. Went to the dictionary at Google. Thank you, Google. Unconfident, unassertive, insecure, hesitant. Hesitant. I'm hesitant. Indifferent, anxious, apprehensive, wishy-washy. I like that one. Skeptical, uncertain, unconvinced, doubtful, dubious. Federal Reserve, undecided. Federal Reserve. Oh, that's what this video is about. Peter Schiff put out a several statements that he aggregated from the Federal Reserve meetings all the way back to April of this year. And he extrapolated some very interesting statements. Basically, if you look at them, and you read them throughout, you can see where the bias is going as far as interest rates are concerned, because that's basically what the market is looking for. What's the Federal Reserve going to do with interest rates? So, basically, that's what the bias is. Okay, so you'll see as you read these statements, the bias goes up, the bias goes down. Yeah, you know what? Instead of the image link, I believe I'm going to give you the full. No, let's see. Is that dimensional enough? I, you, well, maybe I'll give you the full link. Okay, so let me go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read from April all the way on to August 18th, April 12th to August 18th. Again, extrapolations from Peter Schiff. I'm going to be pausing at the uncertain portions of it, and you will find that the Federal Reserve is full of uncertainty. What the market hates, right? That's why the market's going up. That's another story. If any, inflation seems to be returning to our 2% goal somewhat more rapidly than expected. If anything, inflation, if anything, if not this or if anything, if anything, inflation seems to be returning to our 2% goal somewhat more rapidly than expected. Here's one more resolute. I view the current level as too low for today's economic condition. Define too low. The fragility of the global economic environment is unlikely to resolve anytime soon. Anytime soon. Wow, that tells me a lot. 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, 2 decades, 2 millennia. Define anytime soon. Dollar exchange rate movements have become considerably greater in response to U.S. monetary policy surprises than previously. Considerably greater and surprises. Yeah, tells me a lot. Considerably greater. That's a definite number. Let's go on. I don't think of this as a normalization process. I do believe that there are some targets that the Federal Reserve should be moving towards. Okay. Don't think I haven't missed it. Did you catch that? I don't think as a normalization process, what's normal? There's new normal, there's old normal. Normalization process? Caveat number 2. Not even a sentence. I do not believe that there are some targets that the Federal Reserve should be moving towards. Okay, I don't think, normalization process. What am I getting to here? Do I just keep moving and moving? Yes, we're beginning to see a tentative upward trend trend in average hourly earnings. Tentative. A strong, what does tentative mean? A stronger job market could also support labor market improvements could also support. See the word could. No, no. You get paid way too much to make these nebulous comments and qualify everything by could, should, possible, dimensions. Speaking of dimension, a stronger job market could also support labor market improvements along other dimensions. A dimension. Brexit. Ooh, Brexit. Oh, there's a big uncertainty. Brexit is another negative effect. Doesn't seem pretty damn negative. Right after Brexit, market went up after just a few days, and it hasn't stopped. Interesting. But it's another negative effect. On the degree, and the degree depends on how well it is handled by the central banks. It all depends. If they're handling well, fine. If not, hey, it's not our problem. It depends on how well, in other words, it's a bad thing depending. I can still imagination, circumstances in which at least one policy move could take place in 2016, and possibly two. It says and possibly two on there, and possibly three. Nah, make it four. Is it 10? 11. Spinal tap type of thing. Yeah. Just a few days later, I have been sliding a little bit more dovish. Sliding. A little more dovish. When you slide, you're out of control. It's a controlled, kind of, out of control situation. That's what the slide's all about. Whee! Been sliding. Whee! A little dovish. Tells me a lot. The long-term secular trend of labor force participation is heading towards a new normal and a lower level. Doesn't seem that bad, right? The question is, what do you mean by new normal? Oh, this one is perfect. This one is just... This one... Okay. And the longer these statements are, the more caveats they put in, because they don't know what they're talking about. Here's one. We ought to reach that point. Get to a point where the probability, so we ought to get to the point where the probability that inflation is above 2% is somewhat higher than the probability that we're going to continue to underrun it. So there's not only 4 caveats, negation right there. 4 caveats and a negation all in one sentence. How perfect could that be? One way to do that is if we sort of go through 2% a bit. I would say we can do that in a controlled fashion, much like, what Bernanke said, our real estate is contained. 2007, 2008. Our real estate is contained. And here's the last one, and I'm just going to read this. If we wait until we see the whites of inflation's eyes... Aye, matey. You see the whites of my eyes. Gotta love the way they word these. We risk having to throw the economy into reverse to undo the damage of overshooting the mark. Okay, which creates its own risk of hard landing or even a recession. So risk over risk over risk, reverse overshooting the mark, another risk, and even possible a recession. It goes to show you what kind of people these are. They have no clue whatsoever. And the sooner, not only the market, but anyone else can figure that out, the better.